Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm back with a deep, straight-up walkthrough of the new Bleach Rebirth of Souls update, patch 1.40.0.001/1.41. And I want to take you through what changed, why it matters, and how the feel of matches is shifting without sugarcoating anything. The first thing that hits you when you boot up is that the team went after some of the universal tools that were making neutral feel a little stale. Breaker hitboxes got tightened across the board, which means those long-reaching button-first strategies aren't going to bully space as freely as before. That doesn't mean breakers are dead, far from it, but spacing and whiff punishment are suddenly more relevant, and some characters that relied on that extended reach will need to be more deliberate with their poke timing. Interestingly, not every breaker got nerfed the same way. Ranjiku's breaker actually saw a reach adjustment the other direction, giving her a notable edge in mid-range scrambles and making her spacing control a little more threatening than before. A second system-level tweak you'll feel immediately is the Kikon change. Landing a Kikon move now restores reverse gauge even when you're not in soul break, which repositions Kikon from a purely offensive tool to a resource management lever. That subtle shift means combos that used to be about damage now carry extra strategic weight because that reverse gauge can flip the momentum later in the round. Related to resource flow, the Reishi deficiency state has been tuned so that if you're taking damage while in that state, both your damage output and chip increase. It's basically a higher risk, higher reward condition that can swing trades in close rounds. Another gameplay altering decision from the devs is that attacks during awakening and reawakening can no longer be countered with counter, which removes a lot of the reactive safety nets players had been abusing and makes awakening offense feel more punchy and decisive. That, combined with fixes to cancels and invulnerability windows on several signature and flash attacks across the roster, means that timing and read-based play get rewarded more than ever. Looking at characters, there's a spread of nuanced buffs and nerfs rather than crude power jumps. Ichigo's charged signature got startup improvements in his neutral toolset, but had startup slowed during awakening while recovery was improved, which is a clever balance move. It makes his neutral approach easier, but keeps awakening aggression from being an auto-win. His final Getsuga Tensho changes, including extended invincibility on certain activations, make it a more viable reversal or clutch option, but still risky to throw out. Uryu got adjustments that increase spiritual pressure gain on some of his moves and allow tighter cancels. That's going to help him reach his resource source thresholds more consistently and makes his reawakening timing cleaner. Kisuke received reduced recovery on several signature moves and better cancel options. So his pressure loops that used to leave him slightly exposed are now more flexible and combo friendly. Yoichi's cancels and awakening-only hitbox improvements reward her input precision, and Renji's damage and guardship buffs in certain states push him toward more aggressive exchanges where he can capitalize on forced counter-hit situations. Chad's flash attack, getting super armor in startup, under some modes changes his role as a defensive wall and forces opponents to either bait armor or change their approach entirely. These are not cosmetic tweaks. They alter how matchups play out and how teams manage their resources. On a mechanical level, the patch contains a slew of fixes: hitbox cleanups, recovery window adjustments, bug fixes that prevented certain cancels or caused odd airborne states, and minor scaling tweaks to avoid accidental infinite loops. Taken together, those fixes aim to make sequences more consistent and punishments more reliable, which is a welcome quality of life improvement for lab work and tournament play alike. The developer commentary that came with the notes emphasizes stability and clearer risk-reward, and you can see that philosophy in practically every change. They aren't brute-forcing balance with large damage swings. They're refining the scaffolding, so skillful play and timing matter more. One consequence you'll notice in matches is that pressure after certain moves is now cleaner to punish. Fewer ambiguous hitboxes equal fewer what just happened moments when someone gets clipped during a neutral exchange. Conversely, some awakening sequences have become more oppressive because counters won't interrupt them, so timing that activation still demands respect. For players who lab, this patch is a goldmine of retesting opportunities. Look at block strings that used to rely on breaker reach, reevaluate situations where Kikon was treated as purely offensive, and remeasure your reversal windows against the adjusted invulnerability frames. For viewers watching clips or streams, you'll probably see more intentional spacing battles and sharper punishments rather than repeated long-range pokes that felt impossible to contest. Overall, the update moves the game toward a more deliberate, read-focused posture without stripping away the explosive moments that make Rebirth of Souls exciting. It's surgical rather than revolutionary, and it rewards players who pay attention to the details.